My road trip going north has taken me through Kaiapoi and now slightly northwest to Oxford. In Kaiapoi I found a place full of optimism for the future. Here in Oxford I've discovered a North Canterbury town enjoying the benefits of their own revitalisation. Established in 1889, the Oxford Cricket Club celebrates 125 years in October. I spoke to Bob Judson about the club's history. The important thing is the history, and some of it was sadly destroyed by fire.
Yes, well, there used to be a grandstand over here. In 1964 it was burnt to the ground. We lost, the cricket club lost a lot of stuff in there. Coconut mattings that used to go on the concrete wicket out here in the oval. So yeah, we did lose. When we lost all the minute books, we lost a lot of history.
Some of the main players that people would recognise the names of?
Yes, well, probably our top man, of course, is Peter Fulton. He's played for New Zealand, and whether he'll make it back, I'm not sure, but he's current captain of Canterbury. Brad Doherty's played a lot of games for Canterbury. And one that we shouldn't miss is Sally Fromm, who the Fromms have been in Oxford for many years, and she captained our side out here, a sixth grade side, and she worked her way through to Canterbury B, and then she played for Canterbury as well. We just haven't got as many teams as we used to have. I can remember when we used to have 6 teams here. But today we're down to about 3. For the senior team out here, we've got a number coming out from Christchurch to play, and so it's always been quite a good side. They've done all right.
So 125 years, there will be a bit of celebration. What's planned?
Yeah, certainly there will be. We're having on a Saturday night. We're going to have a get together of all the members that have past and present, and around the Working Men's Club at Oxford. We're also on that same Saturday having all our teams at home, hopefully, which will consist of 2 afternoon games and 3 schoolboy teams here, schoolboys and girls teams here. So, and then on the Sunday we'll have a meal with Peter Fulton as our guest speaker, local identity here, and then on the Sunday, well, we've got a fair few, perhaps the past and present teams playing each other. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
So you've got to get some of the old boys back into white again. Well,
I'm trying to talk them back into it. But it's a hard task. But hopefully, whether they come in for a couple of overs or not, will be quite good.
There's an old story about the older you get, the more runs you made.
Well, Bob used to have a theory that he didn't used to come to practice because he didn't want to use all the strokes up at or shots up at practice. He wanted to use them on a Saturday. So yeah, I suppose that does count into that.
It must be very rewarding for your committee to have so much organised and so many people coming and enjoying.
Oh, it is, and I probably actually played cricket when I was lucky to that some of these. Well, I'll call them older people who were around now, and they knew how to play the game, and they really enjoyed it, and they're still involved in the club, whether they're life members or patronesses or patrons, or they're still all involved in the club, and it's really good.
Just remind me when the weekend is that you're celebrating.
This October, and Labour weekend. On the Saturdays and Sunday we're going to get together.
So the Mondays for recovery?
Yes, all those also may want to play a game of golf or cricket, or we'll just wait and see. We've left the day open, so anything's possible.
The Oxford Cricket Club celebrating 125 years in October 2014. For details, contact the club secretary, Jeff McFarland, on 027 329 8703 or email macfarlg@gmail.com. Ashley Gorge Garden Experience. Visit the hidden delights of Ashley Gorge, Labour Day Monday on the 27th of October 2014. It's on between 10 and 4, wet or fine. For details, email info@farlg.com. the gorgenursery.co.nz, and this is a fundraiser for the construction of Reynolds Heritage Pavilion. The Oxford Hospital was built in 1920 as a maternity and general hospital. It opened on March the 30th the same year with 10 beds. 3 years later, the hospital board recorded that the hospital was, quote, a disappointment to the board, unquote, as people preferred local midwives rather than using a public institution. The Director of Health recommended closure in 1931, but it was rejected. Although the maternity use was low, the hospital remained open, with the last birth being recorded here in 1963, although there was an emergency delivery here in 1985. Today, the hospital provides a variety of health services for the Oxford community. Coming up, I head off to Middleton. I'm on my way to Middleton, the middle town between Oxford and Rangiora. The village was originally known as Moraki Downs. Today, though, we know it as Cust. The Cust village was established on terraces overlooking farmland and has magnificent views of Mount Thomas, Mount Richardson and Mount Oxford. Nearby is the Cust River, named after Sir Edward Cust, a member of the Canterbury Association, which organised the early settlement of Canterbury. Built in the 1860s, the Cust Hotel provided accommodation to travellers and became a licensed hotel in 1863. The timber mill from Harewood Forest in Oxford was brought through Cust on wagons, so the hotel licence required that stables were provided for the horses. The stables are no longer here. Where they used to be is now the hotel car park and home for a different kind of horse. This middle town, with its hotel and stables, soon became a popular halfway house for those transporting the beach logs through to Rangiora.
They continued on until 1874 when the railway reached Cust, and from then on the timber was taken by rail through to Rangiora, and at one time we had 3 trains a day bringing timber through Cust to Rangiora.
The Route 72 Cafe Bar Emporium is a fascinating place. These days the shop is filled with a mix of the unusual and the unique, and you can get a great cup of coffee here too. It was originally built as a butcher shop in 1923, and the building has an interesting history.
For a short time the building was used as a rubber band factory by a chap, Greenaway, who owned it, and he used to import the latex in 44-gallon drums, and he had local workers who would put a broomstick into the latex, pull it out, and then the long strip of rubber would be then cut up into rubber bands and sold all over New Zealand. He also, for a time, made rubber rings for sheep and young animals, and also he also made rubber boots for racehorses as well. For a short time, the building also was used as a fiberglass factory for making panels and fiberglass toilet pans.
Well, I came here around 1960 at some stage as a young child. At that stage, this whole community was consisted of large arable farms, and that has changed significantly now in the fact that a lot of those have been amalgamated into a few large dairy farms, and the rest of them have pretty much been sold off and now consist of 10-acre lifestyle blocks. The Cust School has now grown immensely with all the families coming into the lifestyle blocks surrounding us, so it's now quite a large school. They've just in recent years added on several classrooms, and it's quite a busy school nowadays. The village has quite a long history dating back. A lot of people will remember the days when we had a famous motorcycle race here on the dirt road out the back around Summerhill, and that used to bring huge crowds here every year. And we still have a bit of that history all displayed on a board up by the museum there, which people can look at.
This is the Cust Motorcycle Grand Prix Memorial. For many of us, we might say Monaco or the Isle of Man when we think of Grand Prix racing, but New Zealand's first motorcycle Grand Prix was held here in Cust in 1936. The race was held on an unsealed open road track with 24 starters and about 6,000 people coming to watch. From 1936 through to 1940, the Grand Prix was an annual event. World War II put a stop to the racing, but in 1947 the Grand Prix once again became the main event in Cust until it was moved in 1963 to the Ruapuna racetrack near Christchurch. The North Canterbury Business Awards were held under the marquee at the Waipara Hills Winery at the end of August. 45 businesses competed for 7 category awards, the People's Choice and the Supreme Award.
So ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the agribusiness sector, Adam,
Is Worthington Contracting Limited.
Worthington Contracting are absolutely ecstatic to have picked up that award. It was a great achievement, great recognition for the company. We've prided ourselves on creating more capability and more resource in that Three Water space, and moving into that rural sector now, we've obviously been able to demonstrate we can compete with other contractors.
The Retail Service Award went to Men at Work Limited.
We were very excited to win it again this year. We won it 2 years ago, and we thought that this time there was quite a few really good businesses in this category, so we didn't really get our hopes up. But we worked really hard the last couple of years, and so we were super excited to win it again. Yeah, it was great. This award is a great motivation for our team. It's great for our guys to know that they're appreciated. We've worked really hard the last 2 years, and this is a great celebration of our hard work. Also, it means our name is getting into the community, and when people ring us here at Men at Work, they'll know that they're going to get a good service from us, and hopefully they'll think of Men at Work when they think of traffic management.
ladies and gentlemen, quiet please. The 2014 North Canterbury Business Association Supreme Award winner, the Learning Staircase.
And that was a bolt out of the blue. You know, we were absolutely delighted about having got the first award, and I don't think any of us had actually thought that we were in the running for the main one. So, you know, and after the last few years, actually, it's been a fantastic boost to our confidence in a way, because we've really struggled after the earthquakes. We had our location in Christchurch before the earthquake and lost our premises, and so we've been relocated to North Canterbury and had quite a struggle over the last few years. And so to get a bit of recognition, you know, particularly locally, was a real boost, really.
Being in the awards gives you an opportunity to get your name out there for the public to know you, but there's actually deeper reasons than that. Just the process of entering actually makes you look hard at the awards, and it gets the staff involved, and it builds up excitement in the business. And sometimes people actually, in the process of applying, realise a few things about the business that they may not have realised, and it helps them with direction.
Each week I'll be bringing you an update on the development of Silverstream, and I'll be talking to the partner companies who are working hard on making the Silverstream vision a reality.
When we've developed this, there is a certain level of reserve space that we need to give back to council, and you need to provide certain level of amenity for your community. What we've done here is worked off the stream, as we spoke about earlier, and actually looked at this whole community space. When we finish that, we have to maintain it and make sure that it's in pristine condition. After a certain amount of years, council then take over, and then it's part of the normal maintenance that the district council would then look after.
And as far as new trees and things are concerned, I guess the council will monitor that and do that as well?
Yeah, and as part of the maintenance, again, the trees we need to actually keep watered and pruned and make sure it's at a certain height and certain condition before it's handed over. And then once council get hold of it, really Mother Nature takes care of it anyway, but it's council's responsibility to then look after it from that point of handover onwards. And again, one of the most important things here is the amount of amenity that's provided. You don't really need to have that perhaps in your backyard. You've actually got all of this, but somebody else is looking after it for you, which is a wonderful thing in today's age where everyone's so busy. They want all of the wonderful things that you enjoy out in the parks and the walks and cycleways and exercise stations and all of that, but you don't necessarily want to look after it, and that's what we've got here.
Tell me about the retail area, because that's a passion of yours, but it's the heart of the industry.
Yes, well, heart is the right word, because it is going to be the heart of this community. It'll be the centre point, the meeting place where people can meet and socialise together. Our vision's always been to have a convenience centre for the community, and also not just to have one or two shops that just do anything, but we're being really particular about the mix of shops and the quality of the people that will occupy those shops.
How do you get to your ratio for number of shops and types of shops for a community?
It's always it's case particular. In this instance, we have 15 shops, which we think will provide the necessary balance of tenancies, or the mix of tenancies for this community. We have, if you like, all your basic food types. Then we have personal services, chemist, hairdresser. When I say we have, this is our planning. We have some of these tenancies already, and we are still putting in place others. Hopefully we'll have a gym, a medical centre, and some other basic retail needs. So the whole point is to provide everyday convenience shopping and to provide an environment that people will want to come to.
Tell me about your team, because you've got a pretty close-knit team.
Well, we're very fortunate that we have a large in-house design team. So what that means is that we're not outsourcing our home designs to external people that perhaps don't have an understanding of the build industry. So when we're designing our homes, we're designing them with functionality in mind, and also with and one eye, I suppose, on how the most cost-effective ways to build that house might be. So that again allows us to deliver really nice homes at an affordable price. So we've got a great design team, we've got a massive project management team. So what that means is, again, we keep our relationships very simple. When you're buying a home from Mike Greer, we don't just get you to sign on the piece of paper and disappear. For example, I stay with you as your main point of contact right up until the point where we start the build. And behind me are the designers, the people that manage it through the council, our colour consultants, and all the other suppliers and resources we have to help you kind of personalise it and get to a house that you like. But once we get that build consent and we start the build, we hand you over to a construction manager, and he or she travels with you through the duration of the build. So it's a really nice relationship. There's not lots of different people being involved. It's just two key contacts.
Because of the silver stream running through the site, or the head of the Kaiapoi River, we had to meet really high water quality standards for the runoff from the subdivision. So the environmental impact was something we had to manage very carefully, and we worked well with a lot of other partners to make sure all the runoff was appropriately collected and treated, and we had 2 and 3 stage stormwater treatment systems, because the silver stream itself is spring fed, so very high water quality, and we wanted to make sure there was no adverse effects on that stream. So Although you can only see the ponds above ground, there's a lot of infrastructure buried to make sure that water quality is appropriately managed. Well, the job was complex. I think we talked about the earthworks, but there were also two other aspects. We had to build a bypass road around the subdivision, but also we had to underground 66 kVA lines. So that's not something you have to do every day, so there's a lot of consultation with Transpower, Mainpower and other service providers to make sure we could find a path to get rid of those overhead lines. So yeah, a lot of different parties involved and a lot of money at stake there to get rid of the adverse visual effects of the pylons. So Fred and John have really put a lot of effort into making sure that could happen. There were a lot of complexities and a lot of issues to address in a very short time frame, so I meant sort of all hands on deck, and you know, the relationship with ECAN and Waimat was brilliant to make sure that could happen.
We've got quite a bit of expertise in the heavy civil, and we try and bring that through to our clients, like John and H Investments. You know, we did the structure, we did the small little bridge on stage one, and we put that in record time. I can't remember how long it took, but I think it was about 4 weeks before the Prime Minister needed to walk over it, and there was no bridge. You know, and it helps when you've got skill and experience in the wings in your own company, that you can just push the button and say, come on lads, you know, let's get going.
Your philosophy as a company?
Easy, serving one another, you know, serving your clients, your mates, your colleagues, you know, it's that is in the ethos of Bruce Pullman. That's his underlying principles. He wants to make sure that everybody is serving one another, and you'll see it across all of our information, all of our you know, all of our publications, and it's not just words. You know, our guys are pretty unique. Everybody's out there to help each other, you know, and clients like that. You know, if you go to a client and if a client comes to you and says, you know, I've got a problem, you know, rather than you know, try and make a buck out of it, we try and find a solution, because at the end of the day it is about the relationship, you know. So it's that's, I suppose, the uniqueness about Hebs. One of the reasons I work for Hebs is the fact you've got that core culture and common purpose, shall we say. Everything else changes. It's a dynamic environment in which we work, you know, but that sort of core why we are doesn't change.